I'm Fancy.
And I'm Amy.
And you're watching the Good Wives Network. And you are looking at the very first event that we have planned for the book tour. I'm so excited. So
Oh, that's
excited.
it? This right here?
What?
What we're looking at right now?
Yeah, that's our event. That's our event page.
Oh, cool. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. Let me drop that in the down here,
Hey, Alicia.
so you guys can grab tickets to it. Now, this is the first leg of our tour. It will be kicking off in Nashville the 24th, the 25th, and the 26th. We do not have our venue secured yet, but we're working on that. We're hoping to be able to sell some pre-sales and get a nice little place for us. We do have we're already working on the party bus for the VIP tour. But we will be doing a live show, and then we'll have the VIP tour afterwards. The live show, we have just we'll do it
Atlanta is on that list.
What? Atlanta is on that list.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, it is. So this is the first one. You can get pre-sales right now. Yes, we will be coming to Texas eventually, probably after the first of okay, I was just reading comments. I'm sorry.
I'm reading it too. Oh, sweet Bee. That's what I call my daughter. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, so this is our first Cocktails and Criminals event. So if you want to just come to the show at the little venue that we choose, it's just a $50 charge. You get the book and you'll get some sort of we think we're going to do like an alcohol flight, like like either bourbon or something like that, whiskey, something, and then obviously a 2-hour show. We have a special guest for this event. It will be author and criminologist Jude Yates. She's one of my dear friends. She wrote the intro for our books, and I just adore the hell out of her. She's a very knowledgeable woman, and she puts on a hell of a show when she comes out. You get to learn a lot of cool shit from her. And she has a new book coming out, so she's hoping that she'll be able to do this with us and have her book out by the time we hit Nashville. Right. So you can the one is $50 if you want to do the VIP tour with us, which I'm super excited about. This is what I'm really excited about.
Okay.
The VIP tour is a 2-hour tour in a party bus with us. You get a signed autographed copy of our book that'll be dropping on the date that we make it to Nashville. You'll be the first ones to get it. They get a bottle of our Good Wives wine. Oh, it's buffering. Back yet? A bottle of our Good Wives wine, and you get 2 hours of time with me and Mac and probably the hubby.
Yeah.
And any of the guests that we have. So it's limited space for each night. There are 2 tours that are 2 hours a piece, and it seats 30 people a tour. So the more that we get pre-ordered, the better we can make this. Because we do have to put it all out of our pocket before we get on the road. So if you guys would like to reserve your spots and make sure that you get these wonderful this VIP experience, or just a show with us, we have our own wine. We do. So really excited about this, and we're kicking it off in Nashville. So it's going to be the 24th, the 25th, and 26th. Then we head on to Atlanta. That'll take us into the beginning of November. Then we're going to come back through Huntsville, Alabama. Then we'll go to Chattanooga, Tennessee, Pigeon Forge, and we'll end the tour in Lexington and Louisville. So we will be coming to other places after the first of the year. We wanted to make sure that we were home for the holidays. So,
right.
I've got a grandson, and we are excited about that for this year, because I feel like this is going to be the really big year with him. Like, I'm super excited. He's going to be 4. So he'll be home for his birthday in November. So Nanny got home in time for his birthday, and then we'll have Christmas, and we'll start back up after the first of the year. We do intend to go north during the spring and summer. And we're during the winter and fall and winter, we'll be in the southern states, so we're just trying to make it an easy trip and have a lot of fun along the way. And if this were, what'd you say?
So Michelle just said, imagine if Jip Jip bought a ticket and showed up. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my Lord. Oh
Yeah,
my
really.
Lord.
How
Yeah.
you doing there,
And
Jip
I'm
Jip?
designing the shirts that we can have at the event. And I just really want to make this a special evening for you guys. I got this idea because I kept seeing this meme everywhere that was like, why isn't there a party bus that'll pick you up and you can just ride the town and talk about true crime and drink wine? And I was like, you're right. There isn't that, but I'm going to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what we put together for you guys. We'll be also doing, we'll be doing pop-ups here and
Would
there
love
for
to
book
go to
signings and
Australia.
stuff like
Love to
that.
go to New York.
Yeah,
Yep.
we'll definitely make it to New York because that's where Christina is from. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to be a big push for me to come up there.
Would love,
Uh,
love, love that, Fancy.
yeah, and I'm sure that if we do that, then maybe I can get either her brother or her son to come and, give a little bit of a
That would be
speech about
nice.
Christina
That would be
because
really
she was
nice.
such a big part of building this whole thing. Am I going to sell bigger sizes than extra large, Maria? Yeah, if you guys need bigger sizes, drop it in the chat and I can make that today. I'll just add them on there. So the $50 ticket, you get our newest book. I'm sorry, no. In the $50 ticket, you get our first book or second book, whichever one you want to choose. And then you also get a flight of some sort of alcohol that will be changing as we go from venue to venue. And then you get a 2-hour show with me and our extra special guests. Okay, I will definitely make a 2X, Maria. No problem. No problem. We have event t-shirts. We're going to have merchandise that you guys can get, and you'll get a bunch of little goodies. I'm all about making sure that when you come out, you have a good time and I give you something for your dollar.
Yeah, yeah.
I firmly believe that if you're going to come out and you're going to spend money, I want to make sure that you get something for it, that we're not just giving you some lip service and stuff. And on this leg of the trip, I'm really, really excited about Jude joining us. Now in Atlanta, when we go to Atlanta, Amy Ray Davis will be with us. She is a law professor and she's an author in the true crime community. So each stop along the way, you're going to get to meet me and hopefully Mac. Is Ryan Lee going to be TM back with the DBIBA and touring with you? I have not asked her to tour with me yet, but I think I would love for her to do so. So we'll see if we can make that happen somewhere.
And then somebody asked, what if they have the first and second book already? Then what?
If you already have the first and second book, then I will make sure if once you get your ticket, you can send me an email and I'll make sure that I put you down for the third one. Okay. That way it'll come with your actual book. That way you get what you need.
Right,
I
because
don't
we'll
want
be
to.
releasing it
Yeah, we'll
during
be
that tour.
releasing it at that. That'll be the first time it'll be available. So you get the third book automatically with the VIP tour, but we were also wanting to do, the other ones for the other people that maybe don't go into the VIP event. So I would love to have Ryan come with us. So we'll see what she says. I might have to strong arm her, but I bet she will come.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, no, why not? It's really, we're really interested in, and it doesn't have to be just a gypsy centered kind of evening either.
It could be anything true crime.
It can be anything true crime.
Or since it's Halloween, we could do something scary even.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we're just going to have a good time with it. We're going to tour the city of Nashville in a beautiful party bus and have some good wine and some good true crime. I'm super, super excited about it. And of course, we'll probably be popping up in radio stations and local news. And we'll definitely probably be at a couple of, local bookstores and things like that for you guys to come out where you don't have to pay anything. You can just come and meet us and grab
It's
a book.
very exciting, Maria.
Yeah, so we're really excited. We're trying to put it all together. The place in Nashville that I really want to do is this really cute little studio. It's called the Nashville Glam Studio. And it looks so freaking cute inside. It's like
Mm.
pink and bubbly and it's super sweet. And I was going for a speakeasy or something a little darker, but this
Mhm.
seemed like it was really cute. And then, of course, we're going to decorate and make it all cool for you guys because
Yeah,
I just
sure.
want you to have a great time. So,
I think we will.
anywho,
Just being together, I think we will.
I think so too. I think it's gonna be
Mhm.
rocking and rolling time.
HOA.
Yes, can we play Murder Mystery Jip Jip style? Okay, so funny that you mentioned that, Mum Drum, because one of my ideas is for the first night that we get to each town that we would do a murder mystery. Now, we've already written these before, and we were gonna do them the last time we tried to do events, but then COVID hit and we got sick and so many things happened. We didn't get to do them. But we were talking about doing a dinner theater on Thursday nights when we come into town and doing the murder mystery. So if that's something that everybody likes, I can probably make that happen.
Right.
If you really want to do it,
Mhm.
I can get that to happen because I could do that at like the Buca de Beppo's. I think that would be a lot of fun. I have a real good relationship with Buca. I worked for them for many, many years and I love their family style stuff. And I think it'd be a great idea. And it'd probably be really wicked fun to have something like that in their back
Mhm.
rooms. So we'll see what we can come up with. If you guys really want to do that, Celeste, we will be coming to Texas probably. After the first of the year. That's one of the places. So funny because I said I'd never go to Texas ever again in my life, and now my whole entire birth family lives there. So
Yeah. I don't miss, you know.
yeah, yeah. So go grab
I'm in
your tickets
Ohio,
as soon as
Jennifer.
you
I'm
can.
in Ohio
Ohio,
too.
yes, we are coming to Ohio. Um, I'm still working on figuring out if we want to do that as a December date or if I want to wait till after the first of the year because Ohio is just right up the road for me. So is
Mhm.
Indiana. So we can kind of make
Right.
some of those things happen sooner than anyone else. Or a city close by. Where Celeste, North Carolina? I'm hearing it, guys. I swear to you, I promise you,
Dallas, I think.
we will be heading to everywhere.
I'm
So
by Akron, Jennifer.
what?
She's asking where I'm at in Ohio.
Oh, I don't know where Amy's from, but if I go anywhere, it'll probably be in the Cincinnati area.
Mhm.
Because that's pretty close to us. It's only like an hour and a half for me.
Right.
I have to just
And
meet
it's
you.
maybe like 2 hours, 2.5 hours for me.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
Cleveland
cool,
area.
Jennifer.
Sure, I know where that is. Yeah. Yes, I will definitely let everybody know. We're gonna have. I just now this. I just created this one today. So the other ones are going to. Um, cardboard cut it of me as I'm in Australia.
That's funny.
I love it. I love that.
Now
I
I
love
want to
it.
do it, Mom Drum. Now I
Right.
want to.
By tomorrow, I'll have all of the first leg of our tour dates up for you guys so that you guys can get started on doing that and we can start booking things.
You're fine,
I've
sweetheart.
been looking at a couple different things, but if we want to do that murder mystery, I'm going to think on that for a minute. And like I said, if I can make that happen, it's like I want to do this so bad. You guys have no idea. When we
I
were
am too,
planning this
Mom
the
Drum.
first time, when we were launching the network and we were planning all of these things, um, we had our nonprofit we were working for, and we had such amazing events planned, and it just all kind of fell apart when Christina passed away.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, but we have these amazing ideas, and we have content creators all over the world, everywhere. I have some in Canada. I've got people in other countries, and I had at one point in time we had a UK podcast that we were doing and stuff.
Mhm.
So we want to partner up with other content creators in different areas and make this a real thing. We
That
want to
would be
do this. And
fun.
I would love if I could just tour the nation 24/7. Like seriously.
Hey, Kaleido.
So, uh, but yeah, that's what we're really,
That would be
we've
a
really
lot
been
of fun.
doing.
That would be a lot of fun. Yes.
Yep. Yep. Oh, you're watching from Canada? Well,
Yeah.
we just, I don't know if you guys know or not, but Emma just signed on to join with the Good Wives Network. She's going to be bringing the newest show, our Lipsticks, Lashes, and Lies. She's going to be
Mhm.
partnering with one of my favorite little ladies in Huntsville. You guys will get to meet her in Huntsville if you come out to the Huntsville show. Her name is Morgan, but Emma and her are starting a show called Lipstick, Lashes, and Lies, all
Yeah.
about love gone wrong. Yes, we will definitely be coming down to Louisiana and Canada and everywhere. I promise you guys, we're going to get everywhere. Um, oh my God, I'll buy Christina a ticket and you can take her in a cardboard cutout.
Oh.
Oh. Um, you know what, Celeste? I'm working on that right now of getting a P.O. box. I probably will have it set up by the end of next week. That's what I'm hoping to do. Um, and so that way you guys can start to send in, fan mail and drawings and things like that, because we would love to be able to feature those things.
Oh.
We just really would. We love you guys so much. Our audience is such a great little audience. I'm telling you, I just adore you guys. And I'm so thankful that through all of the craziness of this year, we have some amazing people who have really come together in our little circle and our little community. And I'm just super, super excited about all of that. So
Yeah, me too.
tonight, though, we're going to move on to. I found this website. Somebody sent it to us, and I thought it was incredible. And we did this over on TikTok already tonight, but we're going to go through it here. And I like this because now you guys can actually see it, where what we're talking about. But let me pull it down over here so I can read it and I can still see comments here. Let's see here. All righty. So tonight, what we're going to be discussing is the man of few words, Rod Blanchard. I just think that he does not get talked about hardly at all in any of this. Liz was up to the event. My daughter is glued to my hip. A pocket full of mystery. We may be able to do something like that where we have. Oh my goodness! Thank you, Michelle. Oh wow! Thank you so much, so
That's
much.
awesome, Michelle.
We
Thank
might
you.
be able to do some sort of like daytime event where we could do something like that, Michelle. I think we could do something like that.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely consider that. Um, you know, I know not all the Louisiana people are bad.
No, I don't believe that either anyways.
We don't
No.
believe that either. I believe that this is a select
Yeah.
family that
Chosen
behaves this
few.
way, not everyone else.
There's a
So
special place where they're
tonight,
at.
I feel that someone who gets lost in all of this is Rod Blanchard. And I feel like he does this on purpose, that he's a man of few words. He kind of hangs out in the background like he always has. And he just really, I think he didn't ever want the spotlight. I think that his wife wanted the spotlight, his daughter wanted the spotlight, and they kind of forced him into the spotlight. Now, I have my own feelings about Rod as a person, and I personally believe that if he wanted to be in his daughters, not just the two children that he has with Christy, then he would have been. But in my opinion, he is just a deadbeat father
Hmm.
that does not want to take responsibility for the fact that he is just as much guilty as anyone else in this whole story. And I think a lot of people, we all have our opinions about Gypsy and whether or not it's whether or not, nurture versus nature with her. And was she just a bad seed, or was she raised to be like this by the family that she was in? And I feel like in all of that, Rod seems to get absolved of any responsibilities. And it really kind of ticks me off. Oh, oh
Les,
my
thank you
goodness,
so
Celeste,
much.
thank you so much. I love you. You guys are so amazing. Um, I just feel like Rod, I don't know, Amy, what are your opinions before we start? What are your real opinions on Rod? How do you feel about this guy?
I feel like Rod is a deadbeat. I feel like if he wanted to be involved, he would have been.
Right.
I think there isn't anything that you wouldn't do if you had a sick child. There's nothing you wouldn't do or would stand in your way of being a part of their life or
Right.
going to the doctor or yeah, I
right,
mean, I'm sick of hearing the excuses. That's all I hear. That's all I
right,
hear. And I
right.
can
It
only
is all
base it on myself or
right,
my life, you know what I mean? And I can say if it's me, and it has been me, I would be there.
right, right,
So,
right. So this website is really wonderful. Let me drop it down in the chat for you guys too, so that you can follow along if you want. We found it. A supporter sent it in to me and said, "Hey, you should check this out. They've done a really great job of highlighting the changing stories." And when I read Rod's changing story, it really kind of hit me in a different way than I'd ever thought about. Um, I've only met Rod one time. I've spoken to him two times now.
yeah.
The first time I met him, and the other, a couple months ago, where he popped up on a TikTok live out of nowhere, and basically had a conversation with me. And I still don't understand the motivation behind that. I do not understand why he put himself out there like that, especially at the time that he was choosing to do so. There was a lot of freaking, rumors
Yeah.
around that Christy and her had been fighting, and police had been called, and I just found it really interesting that that's the point in time that Rod decides he's going to come out and he's going to, support his daughter finally and do something in the right way. But it didn't go that way. I feel like the excuse they moved 9 hours or whatever way, but what about the first 13 and 14 years of her life? Exactly. Exactly. And he said that she kept moving further and further away. Where? She moved to, okay, so she was in Golden Meadow, and then she was in Cutoff, so that's still Golden Meadow, and then eventually she moved to Slidell when Gypsy was 12 or 13, and then they had the hurricane, and in 12 or 13, and when she was 14, and they moved to Springfield. So where was she moving away from them constantly? She was always within that area until the hurricane hit. And so I don't understand the story that they keep sitting, they keep putting out there of like, oh, I wasn't allowed to be a part of her life, and Christy couldn't do this, and she couldn't have this relationship with her. But now they're saying, oh well, Christy, Dee Dee brought you in the first time when you had your ears pierced and in the hospital, and she let us see you. But that's not the story you've been telling this whole time, guys. And so we started getting together and looking from documentary to documentary. How do the stories change? How does it start, and where does the actual breakdown, begin to change into a completely new version of whatever it is that they're discussing? And
Hmm.
it's like, I feel like these people have like short-term memory, like they have no long-term memory. I think it's rather conveniently, and I think it's convenient amnesia, and it just, it really just makes me boils my blood that they think that we're this stupid, that the public is this stupid to just continue to believe this nonsense that they are putting out there. So this
Exactly,
site
McLovin.
does that, and so she does. It's a wonderful site. It goes through all the different things. Like if you can look here, it's got like Dee Dee Petrie, Dee Dee and Rod, the chromosome disorders. They go through all the different years. They talk about Nicholas, the text messages, the schmurder, the after the murder, the police interviews, the court case. So this is just a really great little website that gives a lot of details, and the people put a lot of work into this, and I'm very
Hmm.
impressed by it.
Yeah,
So
they really
starting
did.
off here though with Rod Blanchard. Um, so in 1990, 23-year-old Dee Dee Petrie met 17-year-old Rod Joseph Blanchard Jr., and he was born on the 25th of March in 1973. Dee Dee was born in 1967. So in 2017, Rod Blanchard recalled his first meeting with Dee Dee. And he doesn't go into a whole lot of detail here. He just says, Dee Dee and I met at the bowling alley one night, met up again a couple weeks later, and then we started dating. And so that was the first telling of it in Mommy Dead and Dearest. So not a whole lot of information there. He just kind of gives the very basic, kind of met a girl, and then we started dating, and then that's it, right?
Right.
But just a little bit later in Gypsy's Revenge, and I want you guys to remember in 2018 when Gypsy's Revenge, or 2017 when they were filming, so Mommy Dead and Dearest had just come out. Gypsy's Revenge was filming in 2017. I was there in 2017. Amy, I don't know what that is. It keeps clicking on your end.
I don't know why it's doing that. You want me to come back in?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So I was there when Gypsy's Revenge was being filmed. And I met Rod. That's the first time I talked to him. And I sat on their back porch and he sang and he played the guitar and he seemed like a really, a really decent dude. And he comes off that way because he's very low key and he's very chill. And I think that that's orchestrated to really keep the heat off of him. And so in 2018, Rod adds a bit of context to the script and he says, I'm at the bowling alley hanging out one night to hear a band and I see this girl. She looks a little different. She doesn't look like she's from around here. The way she dressed and carried herself, she stood out from the crowd. Definitely. I was 17 years old. I was wild as a weed, and she's a little older than me, but I got her phone number and we started dating after that. So, still, now he's throwing in, he's making sure everybody knows that he was 17. So I believe that that's his way of kind of absolving him of responsibility. Well, I was just a 17-year-old kid and she's this 23-year-old woman, and I knocked her up by accident because I didn't know to put a Jimmy on my, a hat on my Jimmy. And so it was just a fluke thing and I can't believe it happened, except that it happened 6 months later again, Rod, with your high school sweetheart who you were on a break with, when you got with Dee Dee. So, but the story's still a little bit, he's taking some responsibility. I was wild as a weed, and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, all right. She was still in the wrong to an extent. Well, technically, Celeste, though, in the state of Louisiana, I believe 17 years old is the age of consent, and he was acting as a grown man. And I do believe originally he is the one who lied to her about his age. And we're going to get to that in a second here.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering.
Right. Because now she and he did not go to school together. She was already out of school by the time Rod became a freshman. But Christy went to school with Dee Dee and they were in school together 2 years apart. Now, 2 years ahead of Rod is Christy. So you just want to say he sucks. I agree, Michelle. He does suck. So now in 2018, he's given a little bit more of information, but in 2019, this is where the story begins to really take on a totally different context. And it's all because of how Dr. Phil handles this situation. And when he did the interview with Gypsy on, the Dr. Phil show, I didn't have as much of a problem with him, except for the fact that he did not hold her to the mat at anything, that he didn't do any of those. And this is exactly, I saw the Newsweek article from 2018 where Rod says she deserved what she got. And that's why I wanted to talk about Rod tonight, because I cannot believe that he said that. Because if Dee Dee got what she got, Rod, what do you deserve? Because I'd really like to know. Because you're just as responsible for anything that happened to your child in the 23 years that you decided to be a shit fucking father. Just saying. But they go on the actual, so they do the show and it's just Gypsy mostly. There's a little bit of clips from them. And if you guys have seen my video the other day going through the 2022 appeal for Nicholas, you'll see that each one of these actual documentaries and podcasts and everything that were done before Nick's trial is heavily influencing of the jury, and it is disgusting. And they did four different documentaries plus this killer thorn of Gypsy Rose, so that's 5 different projects before Nick even got a trial. And Dan Patterson appeared in 2 or 3 of those, talking about the case before he even tried Nicholas before. And I think that's wildly inappropriate. I do not understand how as a district attorney he can sit there and participate in a freaking documentary where he talks about how horribly she was abused and she da 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 and Nick da 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 when Nick has not even been convicted yet. I just cannot believe this happened. I am so livid with the judge for allowing this to happen.
Thank you, McLovin.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. So sweet,
McLovin
guys. We
giving the
really
lovin'.
appreciate it. We really, really appreciate it. So, all right. So here's where the change happens though. So in the Killer Thorn of Gypsy Rose 2019, I thought this was a terrible podcast. I thought it was sensationalized and
I agree,
dramatized for
Heather.
no fucking reason. I felt like Dr. Phil was so overly dramatic in this whole thing that I actually transcribed the entire podcast. My team worked on this. And when I sat down and read it as a transcript, God, it pissed me off. Like it
Hmm.
just made me so mad. So in 2019, Rod recalled and expanded on the meeting yet again, this time as the guest of TV personality Dr. Phil. He says, I met Dee Dee at a bowling alley one night, was about 17 years old. So I saw her. She was there at the bar with a friend, and she looked a little different. She was dressed different, and I thought she might have been from out of town or something. So I approached her and I said, hey, where are you? Where are you from? You don't look like you're from down here or nothing. And so we kind of met like that, started talking. I bought her a drink. 17 years old, he's buying a woman a drink. We hung out that night and started dating from there. I thought she was pretty cool. She was pretty different. Okay. So if he left it at that, we could just leave it right there, right? But Dr. Phil does not leave it right there. Instead, Dr. Phil decides that let's use a bit of dramatic license to further besmirch the memory of the vile, immoral being that we want you to believe Dee Dee Blanchard was by implying that she is a pedophile. And what? So for 2 years, it's been fine that she was 17 and she was 23, but now, now she's being labeled a pedophile. Like, eh,
Right, right. Whenever he told her the wrong age anyways, right?
yep,
That's number one.
right.
And number two, it is legal. He was of legal age. And
Yep,
number three, morally, yeah, like I said, I wouldn't personally do it. I
right.
am not trying to be 23 being with some 17-year-old horn dog. I'm just
No,
not. But
no,
anyway, but
no,
I,
but
morally, yeah. But legally, it was legal. So,
right.
and
Okay.
he
And
lied
so,
about his age. So,
right. And he lied about his age. And they tried to say that she lied about her age, but there's no indication that she lied about her age other than their hearsay, but I can believe that he lied about his age because if he's buying her a drink, he's obviously lying about his age somewhere. I mean, so maybe she thought he was 21, she's 23. That's not too big of a difference, right? So Dr. Phil picks up on this and he begins to spin the narrative. And first, he says Dee Dee was 24 when she started dating. And then he stresses that 17-year-old Rod. And then he goes on
hey,
to say,
JoJo.
yeah, you heard right. He was only 17.
Yeah.
And I wish I had my husband in here because he does like the best Dr. Phil freaking impersonation ever. He comes into the room one day and we're talking about Dr. Phil and he goes, you want everyone fixed but you. And I was like, oh my God. I about fell out of my chair because I was like, oh my God, that is so him. It's exactly him. And
There's two
my
sides to every pancake.
right, my mother used
No
to
matter how
freaking
flat you make it.
let me tell you, my mother used to call me all the time when Dr. Phil used to be on Oprah and tell me how Dr. Phil was going to fix my freaking life. And I would give
Oh,
anything for my mother to call me and tell me that today. But man, back then I was just like, I can't stand fucking Dr. Phil, mom. Please shut up.
stop it.
you
Hey,
know, but
Seven.
I want to point out here that Dee Dee was not 24. She was 23. So he changes her age to make her seem like she's even more of a predator, right? And he's stressing that Rod's really only 17. Does he include in there that Rod was in a bar, that, Rod was buying drinks? No, no, none of that. No, nope, nope.
Yeah, Dr. Phildo.
No, he's just going to make it seem like she's terrible. So, but Dr. Phil, though, is not incised by the fact that 17-year-old Rod was drinking in a bar and buying alcohol, even though the legal age for purchasing or publicly consuming alcohol in the United States is 21. But, he's more infuriated by something that was and is perfectly legal in Louisiana, a relationship between a 17-year-old and a 23-year-old. And do I agree with it? No. But I can believe that, if she saw him buying a drink for her, you know, this first conversation does not always come up with it being, why is it doing that again? Oh, there's Amy. She moved out. She popped out again. Oh, hold on. No, hang on. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. So, I think that this is, yeah, there's something to be said here, but I think she thought he was 21. I really do think she thought he was 21. And then they're probably dating, and she's probably like, well, can we go here or there? And then he had to confess that, Dee Dee, I'm not 21. I'm really 17. And that at that time, at that point in time, I don't know what to do with that. She might have thought, well, we're in this relationship, and I don't know. And back then in 1991, yeah, it did happen a lot. Um there, he was already out of school at this point. He's not like riding the bus to school. He's on a shrimping boat. He left school early to go and do this. And so it's kind of, she assumed he was a man, and he acted like a man, and he was running around sticking his wee willy in everybody. But, it just I don't know. And I think it gives some credence to this hypersexuality that his daughter has. The hypersexuality is tied to the chromosome disorder, and the chromosome disorder comes from Rod's side of the family. So, it makes me wonder if that's kind of the evolution of this, that he's this guy that was hypersexual. He's running around, he's sticking his willy in everybody. He gets two women pregnant within 6 months of each other, and I just think that it's crazy. They did not attend the same school at the same time. There is a difference. Okay. So he did not go to school with Dee Dee. Christy went to school with Dee Dee because, as I'm going to get into, Christy is 2 more years older than Rod, and she's 2 years younger than Dee Dee. So she's in the middle here. So she's still an older woman. Okay. So keep that in mind here, because it comes up in a little bit. So you would think this would be the end of the When Rod Met Dee Dee story, but no. So in 2024, Rod is back on the subject again, and this time cashing in on Dr. Phil's outrage and owning it as his own, and something that the Gypsy Train seems to do a lot. So Rod states, I was 17 years old, and I think she, meaning Dee Dee, told me she was 21. She was actually 23. And so
Right,
that was
Michelle.
done in the prison confessions of Gypsy Rose. Um, and Dee Dee's age, what seemed of no importance to Rod when he reported it in 2017, 2018, and 2019, is now snatched up and used by the Gypsy Train as more ammunition against Dee Dee, because controversy sells tickets, and ticket sales equate dollars. And what started out as inconsequential, we met, we started dating, culminates into poor innocent Rod, preyed on by the siren Dee Dee Petrie and the corrupter of young boys, leaving a bitter taste in our mouths. And that's how the Gypsy Train plays you. I hope this could come as a response from being abused, but I don't think Gypsy's abused. I agree, Michelle. It can come from that. I do not believe that she was abused in that way. I think that that's what she's using to justify it. And I think that the hypersexuality for him and his daughter both tie to this chromosome disorder that they have. So, moving on. So now, if it's not bad enough that they've made her into a pedo, now they've got to bring in some more shit to make her look even darker, because maybe that wasn't enough. Maybe people aren't outraged enough by the fact that this 23-year-old woman was bamboozled by a 17-year-old kid who basically told her, hey, I'll buy you a drink. And she thinks, okay, well, the guy's going to buy me a drink, and if he's 21,
you probably assume he's old enough to buy that drink. You know what I mean?
Right. So he's lying to somebody about his age.
Right.
But that's not good enough. So now they got to start bringing in this whole, she's into voodoo and witchcraft and stuff, right? So I heard this story when we were on the bayou from Bobby Petrie, who is, I can't even begin to tell you where the forks don't happen, but technically he's supposed to be her nephew. He's not, but he's supposed to be her nephew in the family tree of things. He's really her stepbrother, I guess.
You need a notebook.
Yeah, you need a notebook for this.
You really do. You really do.
Yeah, and this is things that they started saying after death. Before this, you got to remember, he thought that Dee Dee was a perfect mother. She was an amazing Southern wife. she was just not the love of his life, and he knew it. But he
Right,
thought she was an
Heather.
excellent mom, and she was so good with their child that he didn't feel the need to ever question her or go to any doctor's appointments or any of those things, because he's got a terminally ill child. But who the fuck cares? He's just out on a shrimping boat having the time of his life. Oh, it's all in the book, baby.
It's
It's
gonna be, baby.
all
You wait and
in
see.
the
Yep.
book. Exactly.
Hmm.
And Heather Zimmerman, that's exactly what we brought up earlier, is that Rod approached her. Dee Dee was just standing there having a freaking time with her girlfriend. It's not like she was like, oh, let me go hit on this hot little kid.
Let me go
No.
set him up and let me
Yeah,
get myself
no.
pregnant and then let me do all this. That's not even
Right,
at
right.
all.
So here we go. We're into some darkness, dark things. She started talking about witchcrafts and just different weird dark stuff, I guess. It was kind of weird. And oh, by the way, she has a pet tarantula. Like, just throw that in at the end there, because it's not weird enough that she's doing witchcraft and stuff, because it's not weird in the culture that they are in.
Mm-mm.
Witchcraft or voodoo or
Mm-hmm.
even Santeria is all part of their culture down
Culture.
there,
Yep.
that they can still have religious, like Christian religious values, and still
Right.
practice the arts of these things, because it's definitely part of their culture.
Yeah. It
I mean,
doesn't
there's a
mean you're
whole
some
French
mean,
Quarter
evil.
dedicated to all this crap.
Right.
Like if you
And
go on
it
the French
doesn't mean
Quarter,
that you're an evil person.
no, it doesn't. If you go on the French Quarter, I can tell you that every third shop is a freaking shop of some sort that has to do with voodoo or witchcraft
Voodoo.
or
Yep.
yeah,
Absolutely.
my daughter and I went through from stop to stop looking at all the cool stuff and looking at different things, because it was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, but an interest in witchcraft is not uncommon
Hey,
in
Noodles.
Louisiana culture. Most of us know at least one person who has a pet spider. Catholics don't do that. Yes, they do, Lily. In that area, they can.
Say
Yes,
hi
they
to
can.
Morbid for us, Noodles.
Hey, yeah, hey.
She's going back and forth.
Oh, okay. Works offshore in the Gulf and is a great dad. Exactly. Maybe, and that's the thing. Like, if he wanted to put the effort in to be a great dad, he would have put the effort in to be a great dad. You know, a lot of military men, my father was a military man, he didn't put in the time, but other military men, sometimes they get, stationed overseas, their family can't go, but they always try to make sure that they have a relationship with their children and their wives and all of these different things. Being a guy who's on the road does not absolve you of being there for your child, you know? So
Yeah,
then
great.
he
Yeah.
goes on, and he continues on in the Killer Rose of
Marie
Gypsy Rose,
Laveau.
and he's like, oh yeah, Madame Marie Laveau,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. So she had a car. I didn't have a vehicle, so she kind of drove me around. So the author here says the car was probably of more interest to Rod at the time than their respective ages. But now, of course, their ages take precedence over everything else, and the damage is done. What a wicked, wicked woman young Dee Dee Petrie was. So, they start this narrative. And I think that
That was
along
cool,
the
Noodles.
way, they were realizing that people were beginning to sympathize with Dee Dee, and when they started looking into things, and their stories weren't crazy enough. So they began to just kind of ramp it up and ramp it up, because who wants to hear the same tired story over and over again, right? 18, why didn't he spend the maximum amount of time with her? Exactly. Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm. Hey, sniffing around.
Yeah, exactly. So if we go down here now, the
Hey,
same
Sherry.
pattern begins to happen. Um, right. Not all practices are black and evil. There's white magic, there's light magic, there's all kinds of different stuff that people, practice.
Exactly, Heather. They're
So,
not everything is evil
right,
and black.
right. So now, so we see how the relationship between Rod and Dee Dee changed as more and more media came into the picture, and they have to make a bigger and bigger story, because it's going to get tired again, right? Like, nobody gives a crap. People are fickle. And if the story doesn't keep grabbing you, they're just going to go on to the next thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So now we see the same pattern with the announcement of Dee Dee being pregnant. So in 2017, he's very basic on Mommy Dead and Dearest. He just says, well, Dee Dee got pregnant. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
So, okay, fantastic. Not
Yeah.
a man of many words here, So then in 2019 or 2018, Rod reports the same news, but with just a little more context. So he says, Dee Dee told me one morning that she's got some news that she's pregnant. So I was like, really? Oh, really?
Hey,
Already?
Bubble.
And I really think that the already is such a weird word there at the end. Like already, like, so are you planning on her getting pregnant, or just that already is weird, don't you think, Amy?
Yeah, yeah, already. Like, what do you mean already? You
Like, do
know,
you think that there's
like,
a
I mean, I know
timeline
I wasn't using a glove, but, already.
already? Like it happens on the first time, it doesn't happen on the fifth time? Is
I
there a
know, Seven. I
timeline
wish
that
you could.
pregnancy becomes a bigger thing for you after you've had 5 dates, or
Hey, Karen.
I
Yeah,
don't
I know. Well, I don't know what he thought was going to happen when he's not putting a helmet on it, right?
know. Right, I don't know. Yeah, right. So in 2019, he decides to come in with a whole nother thing, a whole new story. Now he's on the shrimp boat, and she said, "Oh, I need to talk to you." And she's like, "Hey, I'm preggers." And I was like, "Wow, really?" And he's like, "Did you tell anybody?" And she said, "No, not really." So how did it go from just one morning you were there, and now you're coming in from a shrimp boat, and she's like ambushing you at the dock? Like,
Right?
I can just imagine, like
Holding a sign.
Dee Dee rolling out there, like wandering, running out there, and like standing at the end of the dock, and she's like holding her stomach,
Yeah.
like it
We got a
just,
bun in the oven,
we
Rod.
got a bun in the oven, Rod. Oh my
Like, that's what happened. Come on.
god. so So by 2024, though, once a man of three words, she got pregnant, now appears schooled to focus less on the news of the pregnancy and more on what feels, the train and the money and the salaciousness, and,
Yeah,
keeping
Alyssa.
them to be, in the news. And namely, that's his age again. So now he's stating that we were only dating 3 months when Dee Dee told me she was pregnant. And again, he's telling everybody I was 17 years old. So in case anybody missed it, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, Rod Blanchard was 17 years old. Just so
Yeah.
everybody knows. Just so
For the
everybody knows.
people in the back.
Right.
He's
But let's
17.
just remember, he's in a bar, likely drinking alcohol as well as buying it.
Right.
That always reminds me, when I said that, like, it reminds me of Sweet Home Alabama, where she's like, "You got a baby in a bar."
Yeah.
So
I need to watch that again. I like that movie.
it's one of my favorite movies. We love it. We love it.
Hmm.
We don't talk about Nasty Pooper over here, guys. So can we just
Yeah.
not bring her
Yeah, we
into the
moved on from
conversation?
that. We just move
Yeah,
on.
I will talk about her on another time on another platform. I will not address her
Yeah.
on my platform at all.
Yeah. No.
So please just keep it to,
But yeah,
yeah. Anyway, so
all
in
good
20
though. All
that
good.
2016 Rod interview, though, Rod Blanchard tells Michelle
You're
Dean,
good.
the
You're good,
future
Michelle.
producer of the act, that he and Dee Dee dated for 4 to 6 months before Dee Dee fell pregnant. So in 2016, it's 4 to 6 months, but in 2024, it's three. But so many interviews, so little time seems to be to frazzle Rod Blanchard's brain. Maybe he dated Dee Dee for 3 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 5 months, maybe it was 6 months. Maybe she's put a spell on him and it never actually happened at all. You know?
Exactly.
So now
Maybe.
Christy's feeling a little bit like she's being left out of the limelight here. And so she's obviously got to chime in. And this is a story that she actually told to me in her letter, I believe. And it was pretty early on. And it was kind of one of those stories that I was like, what? What do you mean? Because she's like, okay, so basically, Rod's mom worked at the local library, and Dee Dee supposedly came into the library and she was checking out some books, and Rod's mom checked her out, and she didn't know that Rod and Dee Dee had been dating for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it is at this point, right? Right. She doesn't know that. And
Hmm.
so Dee Dee She
Ooh,
tells Dee Dee when she
skippity.
sees the How to Get Pregnant book that Dee Dee's withdrawing from the library. Oh, honey, I hope you good luck to you. We hope it happens for you, honey. And then she finds out when Rod and her tell, them that she's pregnant, that, oh my God, she was the one that was checking out this book. And then Christy has to double down again. Like they can't just leave it at one fucking story. They have to continuously keep making it more and more salacious. But as 9 months to the day after that library book incident, Gypsy pops out. Just Gypsy's right there. So, so Dee Dee
Yeah.
Blanchard was 24 years old when she fell pregnant, and it's safe to assume she knew all about the birds and the bees, as did Wild as Weed Rod.
Right.
She's not in school at 23 years old. Why are you so okay, Lily? What is your where are you getting the information that you think that they went to school together? They didn't. They were 4 years apart. They did not go to school together. Gypsy or Dee Dee and Christy went to school together, and
Oh,
Christy and
yeah.
Rod went to school
Did she
together.
think maybe it was a school library? She think
No, just
maybe
the regular everyday library, downtown
it was
library.
just a library. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just their local library. Okay. I
Right.
just want to make sure we were clearing it up because I couldn't
Right.
figure out why you were saying she's in school. All right.
Mhm.
So no, she's already a nurse's assistant at this point in time. And she's working in the hospitals and everything. And so here we keep going on. So we're going to hear about this, So Rod reports in Mommy Dead and Dearest that following Dee Dee's pregnancy reveal, he said it was, again, a man of many words, felt it was important to get married. So, he could have left it there. But then he also does go on and say that being from the South, I guess I was raised where, if you got a girl pregnant, then you got married. There was no other question about what you did. I was 17. We keep hammering that home all the time. Sorry.
Right, Noodles. Right. That's bothersome when people do that.
Yes, I think that's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Christy was always in love with Rod, 100%. So Rod decides, he's going to do the right thing by the morally depraved Dee Dee Petrie, advising that she wasn't a terrible person, but I wasn't really in love with her, madly in love with her. So I said, well, she's a good girl. She's got a good family. I'll eventually, learn to love her more and stick it out and do the right thing. So in 2019, he's saying that, that he's just this damn good guy. He's going to do right by her.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, though, he's already got another woman pregnant.
Right.
So,
right.
It's
like you got them all lined up. You're next. I mean, seriously, he was throwing it around.
Right. Now, for everybody that wants to say, oh my God, Dee Dee's this horrible person who she's dating, this much younger guy. Well, Rod, when he got Dee Dee pregnant, was dating a girl younger than 17. And she was Jill, and he got that girl pregnant too, And I guess maybe she checked out the same book. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. The book seems to be what they want, huh? Popular book.
Yep.
Buy the book, get a baby.
Have an interest in witchcraft and her pet tarantula, so maybe she was okay. But he picks that one to marry, not the other one. I mean, when you get two girls pregnant at the exact same time, how do you decide which one you're going to do right by? I mean, I don't know. That seems so weird. And how do you make that mistake 2 times in 6 months? Like, did you not learn your lesson? Like, come on, dude, what's going on here? So here we go. On December 27th of 1990, pregnant Dee Petrie and perhaps the not so gallant, trapped by a library book Rod Blanchard join hands in holy wedlock. And get this, he's drunk as a skunk. He drives off the road. He got into a fight, and Mama and Papa Petrie came and bailed his ass out so that he could come down and actually be there to attend his own fucking wedding. His parents didn't bail him out, but hers had to come and bail him out. So
they said, by God, don't make me get that shotgun.
Right.
They could come and get you. You going to this wedding, buddy. But yeah, that's who came and got them.
Yeah. Who did they live with
Her
after
parents.
the wedding?
Her parents.
No, originally they had a little apartment, and then he leaves her in that little apartment, and then she has to move back to her family's, and then he comes back. I guess Christy wasn't giving it to him or whatever. I don't know, or maybe Jill was tired of him and he had to figure out something to do. So why not go back to the ex-girlfriend, the
Right.
ex-baby mama, because that makes sense. So Christy Blanchard meets Rod in the 4 years of high school he met before he met Dee Dee and considered herself and Rod to be the best friends. She describes Rod at the time as being nice and outgoing, and he had a funny character. And I just shared the other day some of the funny little messages that were between him and her, and that they passed back in school and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So Christy was born on the 10th of April of 1971, and she's 2 years older than Rod.
She's my age. Wow.
So if she's 2 years older than Rod and it's bad for Dee Dee to, how is it not bad for Christy? Just things that make you go home.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Yeah.
didn't Jill's parents charge Rod with statutory rape? She was underage. No clue. Maybe they didn't want to upset their daughter. Maybe of their grandchild that they thought he was gonna, he's already taken care of one kid. I guess he'll take care of this one too. Nope, he doesn't though. So anyway, so Christy claims she first met Dee Dee when Rod and Dee Dee started dating, and she says she initially had liked Dee Dee. She was real sweet, she was real nice, and I could clearly see that she was dramatically in love with Rod. Okay, but that's really funny because you told me that you knew Dee Dee in high school too, and you didn't like her, but you just met her when she started dating Rod.
Right.
I don't and she claims that Dee Dee had no issue with her and Rod's relationship, friendship at that point. But let's not forget that Dee Dee is no longer here to dispute any of that. So, yep, it's more likely a 17-year-old boy lied about his age to get into a 24-year-old woman's pants than Dee Dee lying about her age. I agree. I 100% agree. So, all right, let's keep going here. So, although attesting to like Dee Dee, oh, thank you, Laura Lynn. Thank you so much. Has refused to. She liked Dee Dee, but she decides she's going to refuse to attend the wedding ceremony on the grounds that she believed Rod was making a huge mistake. And she says she felt Rod was only marrying Dee Dee out of a sense of duty, perhaps hoping that her feelings, marked with her absence at the wedding, would prompt Rod not to go through with the service at all. I mean, if you just left him sitting in the jail cell, though, I guess, he wouldn't have gone through with it. And maybe that was what we should have done. But, Christy's a woman of principle here. So Christy's refusal to go to the wedding, though, did not extend to her visiting the bar where the wedding after party was held, where she turned up with a group of her friends in tow. Now, I want you to understand this. This is Rod, again, 17 years old, in yet another bar. But beyond Rod being in a bar, if Christy is only 2 years older than Rod, she would only be 19. So how in the world is she in this bar as well? I mean, I guess it's a bar that doesn't seem to care about the fact that
Yeah.
there's an underage drinking going on. I hope the drug and whatever administration doesn't freaking raid that bar, but hey, whatever.
Right. Definitely no girl code either.
Right. And so she shows up at this bar. Now, of course, there's no other bars in the town, so she's got to show up at this bar. And does she see Rod there and go, "Oh man, this is really not a good idea. Let's go somewhere else, guys"? No. She doesn't do that. So here's tuxedo-clad Rod, who must have just been overjoyed to see his best of friends, Christy, because newly married and sporting a wedding band, Rod would inexplicably or predictably attempt to kiss Christy outside the apparently
Yep.
only bar in town she could have possibly visited that day. But I believe he actually kissed her because the story went like this. She said that he followed her outside. They went to leave or whatever, and they followed her out. He followed her outside. He's like, "Hey, where are you going? Where are you going?" And he was drunk. And she's like, "You just got married. What are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, give me a kiss. I don't love her, blah, 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 blah." And so Dee Dee comes out after a while because she's like, "Where the hell is my husband? I mean, I just got married and this man is a missing. I better go look for him." And she comes out and they are kissing, and Dee Dee loses her shit. shit. And this is where Christy begins to start telling us that, Dee Dee hated her and, she wouldn't let her be around her baby until they were fully married. Well, I wonder why, Christy. I'd be pretty fucking pissed too if you were sitting out in the freaking parking lot of the local bar with my husband in his tuxedo from getting married while I'm standing in my freaking wedding dress and you're kissing him. Yeah, I think I would not like you. I think I would have punched you in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Just saying. I might have gone to jail that night.
I
I
guarantee
would have
it.
paid bail.
I guarantee it.
Absolutely. There's no
I
way.
would have got both of them, to be
And I go, and
honest.
just remember that Gypsy is okay with other women, flirting with Nicholas. But if it's, she wants a relationship, then she's going to have to unalive her. Just remember that. Just remember that. And if it's a family member, though, she would let him do it because, he could be less brutal than her.
They got divorced.
Just remember. Just
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
All right. So Rod's romantic advances to Christy at what was effectively his wedding reception hints at there being more to Rod and Christy's friendship, than we are led to believe. There aren't that many men who lunge in for a kiss with their female best of friends on the day they get married. So why did Christy decide to visit the bar? We're thinking it should have been me. So then the much encouraged idea of the evil, weird, different Dee Dee Petrie luring the I was 17-year-old Rod Blanchard into fatherhood and marriage tends to smother any questions we may have about the relationship friendship that may have already existed between the future Mr. and Mrs. Rod and Christy Blanchard. Christy says she rejected Rod's advances, Hey Pink Cloud, on the basis that Rod was a newly married man, not because he was only 17, but just because he was newly married. I mean, she definitely believes in the sanctity of marriage. Doesn't she, Mac?
Yes.
Yes. She would never break up a marriage on purpose.
No.
Right?
Never.
No, never.
Never.
No, never. But one has to question, what was she doing attending the bar in the first place? It seems highly unlikely she was there to toast the happy couple, given her disapproval of the match. So we can only view it as an attempt to gain Rod's attention. Like, see, I told you, eat your heart out. I'm over here and I'm doing my thing and I look really good and she don't. Like, no, that whole thing, that whole thing.
Yeah.
So, and they basically promote this whole thing that Dee Dee is the much older and she's much wiser and she's just pulling the strings, to achieve a commitment from the younger, vulnerable Rod Blanchard. And it's just continuously pushed down our throats that that's the narrative. So if it is used to vilify and demonize Dee Dee in a way that distracts from an alternative likelihood plot hiding in plain sight. Maybe it wasn't Dee Dee who was pulling Rod Blanchard's strings. Maybe she got caught up in a game being played out by others.
Someone else.
Right. Now, averting our eyes seems to be a constant feature in this case, a case which seems to adopt false narratives to serve as distractions. And what have I said from the very beginning? It's all a distraction.
All a distraction.
Yeah. So if we didn't know about Rod's high school girlfriend friendship between Rod and Christy, which way would our eyes be facing? Not in the right direction, that's for sure. They'd be firmly locked on the one only portrayed villain of the tale, the despicable child snatcher Dee Dee Petrie. I love the person who wrote this. I just think it is so.
The is the child snatcher.
The despicable child snatcher. So see, here's what goes on. So Dee Dee had actually stepped outside and found her new husband and Christy together and had immediately called Rod to join her inside. Christy reports that Dee Dee's friendly feelings toward her did an about turn shortly after this, the insinuation being that Dee Dee witnessed her new husband's betrayal, but gut feelings dictate that Dee Dee may have already had viewed Christy as a threat well before this incident took place. What a wonderful start to married life for the new Mrs. Dee Dee Blanchard.
Mm-hmm.
So the story goes, it will come at no surprise to learn that Rod and Dee Dee separated just 3 months after marrying. So he still doesn't know that Jill's pregnant yet, though, mind you. Okay, so Jill isn't pregnant yet. He leaves Dee Dee. And I mean, if I were a 15-year-old girl and I saw him leave his wife and his pregnant wife and baby, I'd sure be jumping in the sack with him for sure. I totally would be doing that. And if I were the man who just left my pregnant wife and went back to my high school sweetheart, I would totally not be putting a hat on my Jimmy. You're right. You're
Mm-hmm.
right. Yeah. So the story begins as he woke up on his 18th birthday, and I'm like, what am I doing here? Right? That's the first story. Very simple. I woke up, I was 18. What am I doing here? Right? So I want you guys to understand, if they've only been together for a few months, and gypsies, they separated after 3 months of marrying, he was not that far away from his 18th birthday in the first place. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Right. So then he follows this up in 2018 on Gypsy's Revenge, and he said, "I just never developed a special place in my heart for her. We was married only 3 months, and concluding in 2019 with the lengthier. I woke up on my 18th birthday. I just felt like, what am I doing here? Yeah,
Right.
okay, turn the
Me
lights
too,
off.
Flower.
I don't. Yeah, I've got the. No, you're fine. Uh, I don't, or I made the decision that morning that, I need to get out of here. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like it. Yes, I will. I didn't feel like it felt right. I knew I was going to be the father to a child too, but I could still do that and not have to sacrifice my whole life. And, I still had so much ahead of me to look forward to that I felt like it was a big step. I made the wrong choice and I just left.
Right.
And, but he follows, he does describe her as the perfect Southern wife, a really nice girl, very polite and very generous. So was she a pedophile who practiced dark arts, or was she a really nice Southern girl who was a very polite and good Southern wife to you, who had dinner on the table when you got home and
Mm-hmm.
rubbed your feet before you went to bed, Rod? Or was she doing voodoo in the closet?
And
Like,
deserved what she got.
right, and she deserved what she got. She deserved what
Yeah.
she got. Remember,
Didn't
she
she,
asked
Rod?
for it. She
Yeah.
asked for it. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Got what she
So,
asked for.
but here's the funny thing, okay?
Hey,
This
Mark.
is not how this went down, according to Christy. What Christy tells me is that a couple days before his 18th birthday, he's over at her house. Her mom's, I think she said something about her mom making him a cake to celebrate his birthday, because that's what best friends' moms do, right? They make your best friend who's married to another woman cakes, and they invite you over for, a birthday celebration that does not include your wife. I
Every
guess
day.
that's just every day that happens,
Every
right?
day.
That's what happens.
Every day.
Yeah, every
Yep.
damn day. I know I do that.
Yeah, I
Do you do
planned
that,
that
Amy?
shit.
Yeah, I plan that shit. Yep, yep. Did she bring? Did he bring the tarantula with him? I'd really love to know. But anyway, so
Hey,
basically, what
man.
Christy tells me is that he's over there and he just breaks down and he's like panicking and he's freaking out and he's crying and he's like, I've ruined my life. I now have a baby on the way too, and I just don't know what to do. And oh my God, what do I do, Mom? And she says, well, Ron, honey, it's okay. You don't have to stay with that poor, vixen who convinced you to get her pregnant by reading that damn book. You just go right in there and you go get your stuff, honey, and you just hightail it right on over here and you can stay with me for a little while, okay?
A
That's
vixen.
what he did. He went over to, he left, and then he went to her house and he stayed at Christy's house for a little while before he decides, to knock up Jill and all of that shit. So
Right.
in 2019, Rod shared with us the impact this news had on a pregnant, newly married Dee Dee. First, he says, Dee Dee, was upset. She woke up and she wasn't happy. She kind of went downhill from there, I mean, I'm sorry, Rod, if I was pregnant with your kiddo and I find out that you've got another woman pregnant and you're shacking up with your best friend and you just walk the hell out on me, I mean, I would think that I'd be pretty upset too.
Yeah.
Which, didn't somebody else do this to a spouse recently and lie about what happened? Yeah, I think somebody did. Was her name start with a G and end with Ipsy?
No.
Maybe.
Somebody that never gets held accountable for anything?
It never gets held accountable for anything. And
Mm.
again, Christy was just trying to help, guys. She wasn't breaking up a marriage. She was just trying to help both times.
Yeah.
How many other marriages have you broken up, Christy? I'd just like to know. Asking
He's
for a friend.
such a good person.
So then
I'm the same age as she is, and I can honestly say I've not broken up any marriages other than my own.
So, according to Rod, now in prison confessions, Dee Dee, grabbed our marriage license that was in a frame and threw it on the ground. Because no one's ever wanted to do that when their husband who's cheating on them walks in and tells them that, hey, he's just not feeling it after 3 months. And hey, sorry about that kid, but I'm out of here, babes. Sorry. Sorry. So Dee Dee woke up one early morning and found herself ceremoniously kicked to the curb. But given all the horrible things that we have been told about her by the gypsy train, she got what she deserved, right?
Right.
But what did Rod deserve? And what does Christy deserve in all of this? And what does the whole family
Exactly,
deserve in
Sarah.
this? Because I'm sorry, if you think that you're somehow absolving yourself of being responsible for the child that you raised, you're not. I'm sorry. Everything comes back to you as well, Rod and Christy, as much as it comes back to Dee Dee. At least Dee Dee was there and she was trying to give her handicapped child the best life she could possibly give her. Because I'd like you guys to think about the fact, if you look around that house, did you see any lavish things for Dee Dee? Did you see a
Mm-mm.
closet full of purses or
Mm-mm.
shoes or
Mm-mm.
really designer clothes or
Mm-mm.
anything like that? Did you see any of
Mm-mm.
that? Did you see her going off to, casino trips in Vegas? No. She's spending every other freaking month at freaking Disneyland with your kid. She's swimming with the dolphins with your kid. Like everything was for the kid. Everything was for her. And do I think it's right? No, I don't think it's right that she fleeced the system. But it happens every day. Just go look at the welfare line.
She didn't do anything that deserved her to be killed.
Nothing. The punishment did not fit the crime.
There's like, what was the crime? That you gave her everything that she ever wanted in her life,
Right. Right.
and then some.
And then some.
I mean, who hasn't had a troubled past? I don't.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
The
Yep.
justifying that goes on blows my mind.
Right.
The
Exactly.
people that justify her and what she did just blows my mind.
The rules apply to thee, but not to me. That's exactly what this family fully is.
Right.
So Rod says that he left Dee Dee with a promise, though, in 2018. He said, I would always do everything I could to take care of her and the child, to do what I can for them financially and mentally, but I just couldn't stay. So can I ask you, Rod, was that everything financially and mentally, was that part of the fact that she had to take you to court for, behind child support and behind medical bills? Because I would think that financially would mean that, and mentally I would think it would mean that when you saw that your ex-wife and baby mama has got a very sick child that she's taken to all of these fucking doctor's appointments, that perhaps mentally you might support her by going. Just saying. They
Mm-hmm.
blame Dee Dee for not letting them ever come, but
Mm-hmm.
Dee Dee could not keep him from doing that. If he's her father,
Mm-mm.
he has every right to call up the Bayou doctor that they all freaking
100%.
saw. All of his children saw the same doctor, so it's not like she was taking her to a doctor that nobody knew about. You could have just called and said, "Hey, when's my daughter's next appointment? I'd really like to
Right.
be. I'm very concerned. I want to know what's going on with her." Nope, not once.
Nope.
Not
Nope.
one time.
Nope.
Not one time. Not one time. And even his sister-in-laws, tell him that Gypsy can walk and that she doesn't, that it's Dee Dee making her not walk, supposedly. And he's like, yeah, we were suspicious, but yeah, we didn't do anything. They're also suspicious that she killed one person and tried to kill two other people. But hey, just leave a child in her care. That's perfectly fine. No problem there.
Good for you, Cicada.
So the assurances must have been, great in this. So in 2024, he says, I'm sorry. I'll always be there as a father, but as a husband, I don't feel that. So now he's dropped the I'm going to take care of them financially and mentally. And he's just gone to, yeah, I'll be around as a dad.
I'm just not feeling it. I'm not
I'm just
feeling
not
it.
feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Nah, I don't feel it. My give a damn's busted, I guess.
Yeah.
So the assurances must have been extremely comforting to Dee Dee, who would have been only too aware of everything Rod hadn't done for her other than pretty much humiliate her and destroy her self-esteem. And Rod's idea of everything didn't turn out to be quite a bit of anything, right? Yeah. So now Gypsy decides to chime in on this oh my god, my mother is horrible and my dad is freaking wonderful train, right? And so she starts off by telling people in prison confessions that, I know that the most devastating failure to her was losing my father.
Mm.
Really, Jep? Do you really think that's the most devastating failure to her was losing your father? You don't think it could have been that she couldn't figure out what was wrong with her very sick child and make her better, that might have been what she thought was her devastating failure? You don't think that maybe the fact that she had to give up her whole life, any dreams that she had, anything, to cart you around and lay you down in freaking hammocks every day, and that wasn't her biggest failure? No, just losing your father, who basically never loved her, never showed her
Mhm.
an ounce of love at all. And that's who, she's just devastated completely from the failure of losing her father.
But she wasn't blind to it either. She knew that she was going to have to do what she had to do to take care of her, and that's what she did.
That's what she did.
And then they
So,
villainize her for it.
right, right. Well, so she doesn't let her be the victim for too long on this, because she swiftly decides to say that, and this is really interesting, because I know by what is said here where this is coming from. I'm going to tell you in a minute.
Right,
My
Laura.
mother blamed me for them getting a divorce because I wasn't the son he wanted. I'm thinking in my mind, how are you blaming me for something that happened before I was born? So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Gypsy
Nope.
was a little bit like her daddy.
Hmm.
But here's the thing about that. Do you want to know where I believe this story originated from? I believe the story originated from Christy Blanchard again, because in the letter that she wrote to me, she literally said that Dee Dee told her when she got pregnant with Dylan that, if you don't give him a son, it's up on the screen, honey. It's up on the screen. If you don't give him a son, then he's going to 100% just leave you like he left me. But Christy, being the maternal, just, oh, so wonderful woman that she is,
Just to
she was able
save,
to
man.
give
She
him
saved the day
that.
all the time.
Yes, and she gave him a son. I mean, and that's why he stayed with her, right? Right. He abandons his wife and his child, and he's not willing to sacrifice for his life, but then he runs off with a sigh of release, of spring in his step, and high hopes for his future, straight back into the arms of his high school sweetheart, who would soon also find herself pregnant with Rod's child, perhaps courtesy of the same damn library book.
Right.
you know, so he lays low with the second woman he's pregnated in the space of 6 months until the dust had settled. And then he quietly divorces. And does he remarry the girl that, because the right thing to do is to marry the girl you got pregnant, right? Nope.
Right.
Nope. He
Nope.
doesn't do that. He abandons her too. And he leaves her. And he did go back to Dee Dee, and they try it again. And then he, bails out on her yet again. So when he goes back to her, after abandoning her in this freaking little apartment that he got for them, she can't afford it by herself because she can't work because your kid is so fucking sick, and you're not paying any freaking child support at this point. I know you tried to say you paid $1,200 a month for her whole freaking life, but no, Rod Blanchard, you did not. And so he moves in with Mama and Papa Petrie and his wife and the baby on the way. And he's just best friends. Christy was, had been right all along, and
Hmm.
it just is just too much for him, so he leaves again. Now, according to Christy, Gypsy was 6 months old when I started dating her dad. But wait a minute, Amy, didn't she tell a story on the beach just a little bit ago about how Dee Dee brought in 3 month year old Gypsy when she just got her ears pierced for
Hmm.
Christy and her stepmother to see the baby, but
Right.
she wasn't dating him at the time. So I know that I just bring in my baby to just random freaking people that I don't like, that have tried to kiss my
Hmm.
husband and stolen my husband, and show them my baby with earrings in, so but hey, they weren't dating,
They
right?
met. Yeah. Yeah.
Except that, guess what? They were. Because it comes down a little bit later.
Mhm.
Uh, so because nobody saw that coming, especially not in front of Dee Dee's, who claimed shortly after Dee Dee's murder that Rod and Christy, the professed best of friends, were on a break when Rod met Dee Dee. Rod Blanchard recently stated on social media platform, "I know what it's like to be in love with somebody else. I know what it's like to be in a marriage and it's just not there. But do you, Rod? Really? Did you try? Did you really give it the old, try, good old
Mhm.
boy try? Did you
Mhm.
think maybe you should go to some counseling or maybe talk to your pastor?" No,
Mm-mm.
no, no.
Mm-mm.
So, as if that misfortune gives him the right to change the narrative of the story. There was clearly something going on between Rod and Christy Blanchard way before Dee Dee arrived on the scene. Why lie about it? And if they lied about that, what else have they lied about?
Right about.
As far as is known, Dee Dee didn't engage in any new romantic relationships following her breakup with Rod for the remainder of her life, 24 years. As for Rod, who knows? There seems to have been a severe shortage of eligible men where Rod lived, what with 3 women all vying for the attention of wild as weed, Rod Blanchard Jr. And I'm sorry. I mean, he's okay looking, but he ain't something to write home about. I'm sorry.
He could be if he had the right kind of, I mean, anybody with a better attitude, personality, sense of humor, whatever, can be attractive. It's the inside that makes them ugly.
Right, right. So Gypsy's finally born here in July 27th of 1991 at 11:12 a.m. in Graceland, Louisiana, weighing in at a healthy 7 pounds 1 ounce. And Dr. Phil says that Gypsy was named Gypsy Rose after the 20th century striptease artist of the same name, which is a surprising claim given that Rod said that she named Gypsy by that says she was named Gypsy by Dee Dee and Rose by him as he was a fan of the band Guns and Roses. But yes, why not double down and say that she named her after a striptease artist, Dr. Phil? Because why not? I mean, you've already crucified this woman and been the judge and the jury, so I mean, why not? Why not just
Yeah.
make her something completely
Yeah.
hideous?
Gypsy Rose, she was one of those fan girls with the feathers and the fans. That's who
Yeah.
that was.
Yep, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gypsy wishes she was named after a stripper. Well, she does have a stripper body, according to her. Fuck me, man. So, I'll always try to be there as a father. Rod was absent for Gypsy's birth. He wasn't absent as in out to sea or on his shrimp boat. Rather, he was out of his head on acid at the Grand Isle Tarpon Fish Rodeo with the best of friends, not yet in a relationship, Christy. Yeah, you heard right. Fish
Yep.
Rodeo.
Yep.
Wrap your heads around that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so Fish Rodeo, I'm telling you, I was thrown for a loop at this. But so first of all, Fish Rodeo is like I didn't even hear the acid part at first. I was just like, Fish Rodeo. What the fuck is a fish rodeo? Like, I understand what a rodeo is. Like, what's a fish rodeo?
He's off to
Because
the
when I
fish
wrote the pilot,
rodeo.
she just said rodeo. We were at the rodeo. So I wrote the pilot and I sent it to her. And she's like, okay, Fancy, this all looks really good, but why are we at roping and tying horses? And I was like, because you said rodeo. And she's like, no, a fish rodeo. Like I was an idiot or something. And I'm like, what is a fish rodeo? And she's like, where they fish and they have a fish thing. I'm like, no, Christy, I clearly do not know. Otherwise, I would have put it in there the right way, don't you think? I mean, you said rodeo. I assumed rodeo. Like, I
That's
didn't
what I
know there
would
was another
think.
type
I've
of rodeo.
never heard of a fish rodeo in my life.
Nope, never heard of it ever in my life. Not since then, not before then, never.
Nope.
Nothing. But yes, the story goes that he was dropping acid and that he and Christy were I'm having a good old time and they came back to their little hotel and he grabbed her and they fell on the bed and they were kind of rolling around when the phone rings and it's his mother and he is finding out that Gypsy has been born and he hears it on the news that we left Grand L, came up the road, went see her at the hospital and everything. Did what I could for Dee Dee. I don't even know what that means.
Mm-mm.
Oh, and on hearing the news. Oh, okay. On hearing the news, I get it. So his mother calls him up. She tells him the story. He leaves Grand Isle. He's still freaking dropped. He's still fucking gacked out of his mind with acid. And, he comes up the road and he went and saw her in the hospital and everything. Well, he's gacked out of his mind with his, girlfriend that he's not dating, but he actually has, that whole thing.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yep. He was very upset when Christy told this story originally. So, it's really funny because he tells it, but he didn't want her telling me it because, oh my God,
Oh,
Nancy's gonna put it out
good
there.
to know, Erica.
What? In
She
some
said in
states
some
they call it
states it's called
fishery. Oh, I
fishery.
like that. That's really cute. I like that
Like I'm
word.
seriously
Better.
learning stuff. Like for real. I never, like I said,
What
it
does that
sounds
mean?
like
You
it
bought
could
her a
be.
cupcake?
It sounds like it could be fun. I mean, really, I just never heard of it.
And I love this next line. We can only hope Christy didn't heap further
Dear Lord.
indignity upon Dee Dee by presenting at her hospital bedside. But who knows? People have a tendency to show off their trophies. Ah. Rod doesn't elaborate on what he did for Dee Dee, but hopefully nothing. Lord knows Rod Blanchard had done more than enough for Dee Dee Blanchard already. There was a
Hmm.
picture of Dee Dee, Gypsy, and Rod. Gypsy is about 2, and with Dee Dee was playing with Rod's ear. Yeah. Oh, no, no, no. She's not 2. She's definitely not 2, Natalie. She's like 7 or 8 in that picture.
Yeah, she was small.
And guess who
She's a
took the
small
fucking
girl.
picture? Christy, and even Gypsy gave her the props for it because Christy was really good about sharing time with my dad and making sure that every moment was cherished. Except that he was supposedly never there and you were scared the fuck death of him. But I digress.
But Noodles is asking you, did Christy and Rod came to the hospital off their heads on acid after Dee Dee just gave birth? Please tell
Yep.
me I heard that wrong.
Nope, you did not.
That's
Nope.
exactly. Yes.
Yep. That's it. Maybe an orgy of women.
What you're dealing with, that's what you're dealing with.
Yeah. So Rodletter says of Gypsy's birth, as soon as I saw her, Gypsy, I knew my life was going to be different forever, but I had no idea what I was about to take on. Take on what, Rod?
Mm-hmm.
What did you take on?
He didn't
Did you
take
take
on a
on
damn
hospital
thing.
visits? Did you? Yeah, I know. I really do think that he called her that. I absolutely 100% think that he did call her that.
And I think
Um,
Christy thought she was too, and I think they were embarrassed of her. That's
Yep,
my
because
thoughts.
they
My
didn't tell
opinion.
anybody. They didn't tell anybody that they had this baby. You know why she wasn't at the house? Because they didn't want anybody to see this dysfunctional baby at their house.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing. She was dysfunctional. She was a
Mm-hmm.
defect in their
Mm-hmm.
minds, and
Yep.
I do believe that he used that word. And when Gypsy says it to Christy in that clip,
Mm-hmm.
man, you can look at Christy's face and you can see that she knows there's no emotion there. She doesn't she says, "Oh my God, what? No, we would never say that." But you know what doesn't happen? Her face does not show that emotion. Her face is like, "Oh my God, that's so terrible. I never said that."
Yeah. No.
No.
No. And I deal with a similar situation in my own family with someone, and absolutely, they were not a part of his life because they couldn't handle him. They couldn't explain him to people, and
Right.
so they just avoided.
Right. It reminds me of like back in the days when you had a kid with Down syndrome and they would like send them away
Send
to
him
the
off.
insane asylums.
Anything wrong with you, you went away.
Right. You would be thrown away. You would be
Yeah.
put in an insane asylum and just
Yeah.
left there for the state to take care of you,
Hmm.
and that's what it feels like to me. So he does change it up a little bit here in 2018. He now says, I was excited and very scared. I'm not going to lie. I was very scared. I'm 18 years old and I got a baby here and I'm on acid. And let's not forget there is another baby on the way. I've not done it, but I'm just putting the word out there. Please stop asking me to release me and Nicholas's emails. Please, please, I will not do it. What are you talking
I
about?
have no idea who that is.
I don't even know who you are, and I have all the emails that I need between Nick and other people, and I'm not asking you for anything. So I don't
No.
know what you're doing here, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Anyway, so Rod would later attest to Gypsy being born perfectly healthy, although prematurely and a little small. So now he says prematurely. Now, Dee Dee does not, Christy says that's not true, but it's in all of Gypsy's records that she was born premature. And that makes sense to me that she might have been a little small and premature, but perfectly healthy. I'm sorry. Here's the thing. Perfectly healthy, Rod. Can you look at your child back there and from the pictures? Can you not see that there is something seriously wrong with her head and her face? Like, do you not see that? And what the fuck give me a moment. What the ever loving hell was that picture with something wrapped around her like this and she's connected to like some electrical box?
Yeah,
What the
yeah.
fuck is that?
I I have no
What
idea.
is that? No normal child is being connected to that. And why is there a picture of it? I don't even understand. I don't understand. Oh, the pool photo, that too. But no, I'm talking about as an infant, like a little tiny, tiny baby. She's sitting there. I know that. I did. I just don't understand why you brought it up at all
I don't
because
know
we
what they're
weren't
talking
talking
about.
about it. That's why
Yeah,
I don't understand. I made it
yeah.
out. So I don't know. But anyway, she's just like a little tiny baby sitting there and she's got this like device around her. And you
Mhm,
think she's perfectly healthy, Rod? Like,
mhm.
what are you talking about? Yeah, they were embarrassed by
Yes,
her
Alyssa,
Special
I do
Olympics.
too.
I agree.
I do too.
I do
Yep,
too. I definitely think so.
100%.
Yeah. So and this is where Dee Dee's sister, where Possum comes from, because Dee Dee's sister, Claudia, says that she nicknamed her Possum because she looks like a little possum, like little bitty possum eyes. And it's not normal to look like a possum. It's really not normal. Something is wrong there. There is clear facial features that this girl has, that his whole family has, that indicate something is not right. But she was perfectly healthy, but within 3 months, GD is now telling you that she stops breathing and da 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 da. But wait a minute, Ron. She did. I, you know?
Mhm.
So
Right.
So Rod blames work and a shortage of money for his largely absent role in Gypsy's early life. After Gypsy was born, I was gone a lot working, so there wasn't much room for anybody else, except for the baby mama that had another baby and the not girlfriend Christy who has your other. Yeah, there's no time for anybody else. You're right,
No,
Rod. There was no
no.
time for anybody else because you gave all your time to Christy instead of your actual family and your
Incorrect.
children. So we're guessing much room for anybody else didn't include Christie or the thrills of the Grand Isle Dartboard. So Rod's absence must explain why there isn't a single online photo of him when she was a small baby to be found. Except
Mhm,
that there are hundreds of photos Rod and Christie like to surround themselves with in their
mhm.
filmed roles as if taken by themselves, the doting parents of Gypsy, overwhelmingly contain photos from Dee Dee's personal photo collection, which Rod and Christy removed from Dee Dee's house following her death, which for some incomprehensible reason they felt entitled to enter and clean shortly after her corpse was removed. Arguably, Dee Dee's photos are used by Rod and Christy to imply a physical presence in Gypsy's life that they never actually had. Gypsy appears to be around 5 years old in the earliest online photo of her with Rod. Rod sure was away working a lot, but not away as in working overseas, away as in working on a shrimp boat.
Mhm.
Hmm. And I love this. I love how Christy
This is the
justifies it.
website. I'll put it up for you.
Yeah. So this is the website. So this is the next one. I love how Christy, the Blanchard spokesperson says she's got to make excuses for Rod because nobody else is going to. But she's got to. So he was 18 at the time and he came from a broken home, because yeah, I know, but coming from a broken home just automatically makes you a douche nozzle, right? Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this child is coming into the world in a broken home, except that Christy, aren't you the one that broke the home in the first place and then broke another home of her? Yeah. But it
Mhm.
doesn't mean you're not going to love the baby with every fiber of your being. He tried to be there as much as he could. It's just Dee Dee didn't allow him.
Yeah. Can you answer that? Sarah says, I still want to know Who gave them the access to Dee Dee's house and property when they are not next of kin?
I don't know. I don't know if Claudia signed off on it because they said they could get up there faster. They were going anyway. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that closet full of medications that Christy swears she walked into that house and she took
Mm-hmm.
them and all that. No, that's not true. They were collected by the actual um, uh, crime scene, the crime scene people. And I wanted to talk
Right.
about that for a second. Hold on.
Right.
I have some information I wrote down about it. Okay.
Okay.
So they were Gypsy's medicines that I did see. I did kind of go in and look at it. Now they both were prescribed this they both were prescribed a couple of different things. They both had allergies. They both had
Right. Janine.
Dee Dee had some other medication there, but the two ones that I thought were very interesting. Okay, so on Dee Dee's side of the bed, there's the Gypsy Ouch, right? The Gypsy Ouch.
Uh-huh.
That's Tylenol with codeine. So why would the Tylenol with codeine be over on Dee Dee's side of the bed? I
Hmm.
thought Gypsy was the one that had the codeine,
Mm-hmm.
addiction, but it was
Mm-hmm.
Gypsy's, and it's over on Gypsy and on Dee Dee's side of the bed, and that was all those unopened bottles of the codeine is exactly what all the bottles that were labeled Gypsy Ouch. Now the Gypsies, the other one that says Shaky Baby
Mm-hmm.
is levetiracetam and it's for seizures. So all of that was in there as well. And it stated on the one about the codeine that it had to last for 30 days. Now, I've heard some stories about these two going to, different ERs and things and trying to get pain pills and pain medication. And even
Mm-hmm.
Gypsy going and telling people that if you don't do this, I'm going to say that you sexually harassed me. I've heard these stories. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when my mom was really sick, my mother had about the biggest bottle of Vicodin I've ever seen anyone ever have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about the addiction that my mother had to that because she was in so much pain.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there.
And I just think about Dee Dee using that because maybe, she couldn't always get a pain medication for herself. But, oh, honey, you don't know whether has Gypsy had any narcotics in her system at the time of arrest or not. I'm gonna talk to you about that in a second.
Yeah.
But, but I'm just wondering because here's the thing, though. Regardless of whether it was Gypsy's and Gypsy was taking it and Dee Dee was doling it out to her or anything else, it's not on the bedside table over there. What's not around anywhere? Sleeping medication.
Nope.
It's not anywhere. It's nowhere. It's nowhere to be found. It's not even in her system. It's not in her body. It's not in her stomach. It was not in her bloodstream. So whatever happened that night, she didn't take that. Now, if you want to talk about the pills in Gypsy's bag, every single time that Gypsy tried to run away, she took money and pills with her. She didn't have a bunch of stuff. She took money and pills because why? Because she's going to need it. And pills can do two different things. One, she can take pills freely and stay high and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And she can also sell those.
Could be selling.
Yeah. So she
Either
could sell
way, how pissed would you be if you were Dee Dee and you found your little shit of a daughter is taking your pain medication and taking
right.
your money, and not just once? She did this how many times?
3 times at least.
Good Lord.
Now,
I would be so pissed. No wonder they were fighting. Like,
right.
for
No wonder they were
real.
fighting. She was a little slut and she was
Yeah.
giving it out and she was addicted to pills. I honestly do believe that there is some level of that. I don't think that she was addicted in the way that like every day she was taking pain pills.
Right, but I think she
Because
definitely
if
took
that
it
had
for a
happened,
high.
she would have gone through a full detox and she didn't. But
Yeah.
I think every once in a while, did she pop a pill of her mama's?
Yeah.
Sure, for
Mhm.
sure. But here's the thing about her not having it in her system, supposedly, when she's arrested. Guess what, guys?
Right, Amy? Yeah.
Guess what? There's no proof of that because we've
No.
never seen any of the medical records from the time period that she was arrested, nor in prison or in jail. So We have no confirmation other than they said she didn't have it in her system, and we believed her because, well, she didn't have any withdrawals. So, to pay devil's advocate, though, since Gypsy was part of the con, wouldn't she be entitled to some of the money? Nick Lovin, what part of the money was she not getting? I'd really like to know. Again, nothing in that house was there for Dee Dee. Nothing. Nothing. There is nothing
No,
in
but
that
because
entire
I was saying
freaking
about
house.
her taking the money and taking the pain medication. But I mean,
Right. I get that, but the money was already being spent on her.
mhm.
And she had disability coming in, so it's not like she didn't have her own check that she could have left with.
Right. She had like, yeah, like he's sniffing around says she did have access. I mean, she was taking money left and right and sending it to Nick and girl.
Right.
She
I mean, guys, it's
I'm,
just so
I'm
that's
telling you, I'm telling you. I think towards the end there, little Miss Gyp shit was running the show.
right. She had a whole drawer of wigs. She had a whole drawer of costumes. She had a whole BDSM freaking she literally texts Nick in the middle of everything. This was one of the craziest things. It's like, okay, so you're gonna come and you're gonna kill my mom, and this is gonna happen, and then we're gonna do this, and oh, by the way, I found the flogger, and then we're gonna do it. Like, oh, excuse me.
Mhm.
Oh, by the way, I found the flogger. Like,
Mhm. Right.
what? What
Right. Right.
did
Right.
mommy not know you had a flogger? Where
Mhm.
was the flogger? Was it in the shed with your toddler bed? That makes
Yeah,
no sense as to
that's what
why
I'm
it's
saying.
there.
That's what I'm saying. Where was she making her videos that her instructional sexual videos she was sending to
Well, a
Nick?
lot of them were being done in the bathroom. So I'd love to know how Dee Dee did, Dee Dee, who never lets her out of her sight. And,
Mhm.
you know, but she's on the phone all hours of the night and day, but yet she's not allowed to show Dee Dee that she's texting on a phone because it's supposed to be a secret phone. And oh, she was really texting on her mom's phone, but then my phone fell out of the bag. It just, like, it just is
I think Dee Dee knew what was going on for sure. She knew what was going on, what she was doing.
right.
I
Well,
don't think she was happy about a lot of it.
no, I don't think so either. And I think she probably did finally break down and say, you know what? Fucking go, Gypsy. You're not doing anything for me anymore. You're not, I'm not able to do this con anymore. I can't keep this up anymore.
She was
Just
physically
just
sick.
I'm physically sick and you're not taking care of me,
No,
so
just
just
go.
get the fuck out.
Yeah,
Like
and
literally
that's
just
what
get out. You are a pain in the
Gypsy did
ass
say. She
and you
told her
don't
to go.
clean anything. You don't clean anything. You're having sex with men. I don't approve of any of this. Get the fuck out. You know what? And go to Wisconsin with that boy. At least he seems like a decent human
Mm-hmm.
being and maybe you'll be happy. Maybe you won't be with these fucking 35-year-old men because you got daddy issues.
Mm, 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 mm.
Meanwhile, Gypsy tells me in the very first conversation I've ever had with Gypsy, first of all, in the very first conversation, she tells me about her grandfather essaying her. And in our first day one conversation, I just know when I freaking meet a person and I'm talking to them, I immediately talk about the sexual assault that I have had,
Yeah,
from
that's
my
the first thing
grandfather.
I bring up.
And she knew nothing about it. She just said that her mother told her it happened at that time. Now she's got all these details and everything, right? Kind of like Rod seems to be doing. Hmm,
She was part of the
doesn't fall
Littles community.
far.
Yes,
Apple doesn't
Janine.
fall far.
She was
Okay.
part
Well,
of the
then
Littles
the
community.
second thing she tells me is that she wasn't allowed to wear tampons because her mother told her she was too small, and that's why they had to have diapers everywhere. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me either. Like, absolutely no sense. And I do believe that in some of the crime scene photos, people have found some pads and tampon boxes that she says weren't there because Christy swears that there weren't any either. But I don't think that Dee Dee would have wanted to do that. I'm sorry. I
Mm-mm,
just don't think that she was cleaning off menstrual blood on a fucking diaper. Like,
mm-mm,
and they had a diaper surface coming too, so that's even more weird. Okay,
mm.
but you know, here's the thing. So then she tells me in the same conversation that at 13 years old, her mother made her start taking pregnancy tests once a week, every week for the rest of her life. Because she was, but Gypsy wasn't having sex at that time. So she didn't know why her mother was making her take these tests, except that you were having sex. Maybe not at 13, But I mean, if mama was asking you to take pregnancy tests at 13, maybe you were already running around with older men.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it doesn't make any sense for mom to make you take pregnancy tests when you're not even fucking having sex at all. I was a virgin. No, we all know that's a lie. You were not a virgin when you had did the deed in the bathroom at the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think the diapers were for some weirdo pleasure. Exactly. Yep, at 13, she made her start taking pregnancy tests. Mm-hmm. Because I know that's just what you do as a mom. You just decide one day that your kid might be having sex, so you're just gonna have her have a test every freaking week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and wasn't she gonna be a nun? Exactly. So why would she be needing to take pregnancy test?
None.
Oh, 5 gingers. That's not even cool. Oh, you just made me think of a really horrible thing there.
Oh. I mean,
She
I've
did
heard it.
sell
I mean, I don't know. I don't
she did
know.
sell her panties to men while she was in prison. Oh, how old was she when she made those racy videos that she sent to Rod and blamed on on Aaliyah? She blamed it on Aaliyah. She was 16, 17 at that time.
She sent herself to Rod?
Yeah, apparently she sent some sort of crazy video to Rod and they blamed it on Aaliyah. Yeah. Mhm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Just like when the
God.
doctor never asked her to stand up. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
I just cannot.
So, I mean, mm-mm-mm. I still haven't suggested that to my 26-year-old and she's an adult. Good
Right?
Lord. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, Dee Dee blamed it on Leah?
No, Dee Dee did not blame it on Aaliyah. I don't believe that was Dee Dee talking to Christy at all, by the way, on Snow Gypsy. That is supposed to be Gypsy's secret account. That is the secret account that she told Aaliyah that she had and that she was contacting Nicholas on. So if that's a shared account with her mother, how would that be
Hey,
happening?
Jenica.
So
Yeah,
I
right?
think that
Did it show
Gypsy,
her face? Do you know? Vanessa's asking. Did it
it
show her
did show
face?
her, it just showed Gypsy's face, not their faces together. It just showed
Mm,
hers. And it was her in like her little white, princess dress from Vigicon.
mm-hmm.
And I think that those times that people were talking to Gypsy, they were thinking they were talking to Dee Dee. I think they were talking to Gypsy, pretending to be Dee Dee.
Right,
Because it was
right.
during the time period that she was already plotting her mother's demise.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she was basically trying to destroy some of her mother's actual credibility already from inside there. Because the sisters talk about how they were on that fake profile, but they
Mm-hmm.
never knew if they were actually talking to Dee Dee or Gypsy, so they didn't say a whole lot to her on there. I mean, it sounds, there's all these loving posts of Dee Dee, and then there's all these loving posts and you can see that those are from Gypsy, and they're written the exact same way, in all capital letters, all very weird. And Dee Dee didn't write like that. Dee Dee did not write with all capital letters and shit. She didn't. And uh, so I'm thinking that, those beautiful things where Dee Dee's like, oh, I've got the best daughter in the whole wide world.
Right?
She's such a great little nursemaid.
Hey,
I
nailed
think
it.
I think those were
Yeah,
Gypsy.
yeah.
I do too. Yeah, I really truly believe it's Gypsy. Um, I try to find compassion for
Yeah,
Gypsy.
the older men should have known better. Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean we're deep diving into that too. Don't worry about it. We really are.
right. I mean, look at the freaking shed. It's decorated like a fucking child's playhouse. It's got little freaking stars and rainbows, and unicorns, but there's a toddler bed out there. What reason would they need a toddler bed? For what reason? When she
Mhm.
moved into that house, the story was that she was 12. Why in the fucking hell would they give a 12-year-old a toddler bed? It's not like they brought it from her old
That is
house
just
because
bizarre.
everything was already destroyed in Katrina.
And she's
So,
got a little baby doll crib sitting
right,
by
she's
her
got a
bed. And she's
baby doll
23
crib.
years old.
Right. And her obsession with babies, it just,
She
there's
wants to be a
something wrong
baby,
with
and
this
she
story.
talks like a baby, and she acts like a baby.
I agree, Mary Jane Doe. I think she is sicker than anyone knows. I agree. I agree. I 100% agree. Rob
Well,
stays in prison
she's
and
sicker
she's
than people want
nice.
to admit.
He's a nice guy and works hard, but it's also his armor. Yeah. I mean, it's just nothing about this makes sense. And I was looking over something earlier today and we were talking about the autopsy report is wrong. The case file is all weird. Like if you go from one of the officers to the next officer, they are clearly not experiencing the exact same things. It is very vastly different stories from
Hmm.
one to the next, and none of them make any sense. None of them. And the biggest thing I want to bring forward in that is not a single person, not one, not David Blanchard, not Kim Blanchard, not any of the neighbors,
They
not
were the first, Tiger.
not the first responders, not Christy and Rod when they cleaned out the house. Nobody smelled a thing. And I
Hmm.
don't give a shit how cold you think that 45, so turning a freaking air conditioner down to 45 degrees is going to get cold enough to keep a body at a situate at a level that it's not going to freaking decompose for 4 fucking days.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That's not
right,
how it works. Science
right.
doesn't work like that.
No. And like you
Science
said,
is
just
science.
because it's set at 45 doesn't mean it is 45.
Right.
The lowest it probably was able to get to was probably 60 something, I would imagine.
Right. That's what I would imagine.
Especially on a hot
On a
June.
hot summer day in a
Yeah.
not well insulated
But
house because it's not.
how did they not walk in and the smell just, because it's not that big. It's not that big.
No.
It was a snap together house,
Right.
you know?
I mean, David Blanchard said it 3 days later. I didn't see a bloody knife. I didn't smell any decomposing body, and I didn't find anybody in the house. Well, okay, then what were you even doing in there, David? Because if you didn't want
Right.
to invade their
Wow.
privacy, how were you in their house invading their privacy, despite the fact that the police officers told you not to go in? Do you know that there's like several different stories about whether he was already in the window, not in the window, on the stepping stool, into the window didn't work, the door was there is nothing about this that makes
Mm,
any fucking sense.
nope.
We have never been given a truthful story, and
Nope.
the more and more we look, the more and more I believe cover up. Cover up. It just it smells of it as
Oh,
Dee's body should have smelled
when it
at the
doesn't
front
make
door.
sense, you have no other option but to theorize and think about, okay, what could have really happened, because nobody's stories are the same, and they all change, like all the time with all the players that are involved.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
What?
And Kim, this what AVL said. Obsession with babies. She was a Star Wars freak. Check out the author of Phasma. The other name she writes under is Ava Lovelace, and those books are all pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
That's
Interesting.
interesting.
That's really interesting. And here's the thing, okay?
Hey, not
Like,
sorry, Charlie.
oh hey, not so Charlie. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Um, but here's my thing. Like with David and Kimberly, look at this. This is something very simple, and I missed it until I read that article the other day.
Hmm.
And I read this article from 2015. It's from 3 days after the actual murder. And Kimberly Blanchard is in there stating that they called into the police. The police came. They said that there was nothing they could do. They could not breach the inside. And and they decided to go back and to issue a missing persons report. And they told everyone they needed to leave. And Kim and David went on about their day. That is their exact words. We went on about our day.
Mm-hmm.
We had errands to run and we went on about our day, which is really funny though, because if you go back and you look at the timestamps now, if you're living in Eastern time, don't get freaked out because it's going to be an hour ahead. So originally we weren't understanding whether it was an hour ahead or were they lying about when the call went out. So they're on Central Time, so it does line up
Mm-hmm.
with the timeline of what they say about this happening and that happening. Um, but here's the thing. If they went on about their day, how was she there every single
Thank you,
oh, thank you,
Bonnie.
Bonnie. Thank you, thank you. How was she? What's it on? 69. All right, we'll leave it on. It's on right now, so it'll run. No, it's at 69. The temperature is 69. Okay, Abby. It's running right now though. Yeah, because I turned it down, not knowing
Yeah, we
okay,
have it
Abby, I'll
figured
turn
out.
it back up. Just go to bed. You're fine. It's okay. I'll turn it back up in a little bit. Yes, Abby, if you'll go, I was trying to. Jesus Christ. So,
Um,
yes, I have talked to both David and Kim. I don't know what's going on, Abby. I don't know. Maybe open your window. It's probably cold outside.
it is nice and cool out.
No, they did not check David and Kim's house for any blood. Okay, but here's the thing I was trying to talk about before we go is that they were there on scene at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight 18, when the door was finally breached and the first officer goes in and they find Dee Dee's body. Kim was there that entire time. She was there giving posts. Thank you, Jennifer. Giving updates on the actual Facebook post over and over and over again. So, how did they go on about their day when they're there giving minute by minute updates?
Dee Dee didn't make fetish content of Gypsy. That was Gypsy making that content of herself.
Who in the fuck said that? Oh, Jesus Christ. Dee Dee couldn't.
If Dee Dee was a great mom that was not abusing her child, then how was she also creating fetish content for her? I don't understand. You may
Well,
not
they also tried to say that I said that she was, pimping her out because she's taking her to the after parties of VisionCon. I did not say
no.
that.
No.
I
We
said
said they
that
both could have been looking for men.
they both could have been looking for men. I also said that those type of conventions are a cesspool for trafficking and all of that good shit. I did not say that Dee Dee was doing any of that. They like to twist my words to make me sound like
Yeah.
I'm saying something completely
No
salacious
one said that.
when
No.
I'm
No one
not.
said that anywhere
Okay.
ever. Ever.
So we're coming to a close here. It's midnight. I'm ready to go to bed, or I'm ready to wind down at least. And
Yeah.
but I did want to talk about this one more time since a lot of you weren't here in the beginning. This is our official announcement of the book tour. It's starting in Nashville. We do not have a specific location yet. We do have a plan. We're working on it all. But if you guys want to get your tickets now, you'll save a little bit of money on the tickets
Yeah.
at the, in pre-sales, and it helps us to be able to make sure we have enough books for everybody and we can pay for the party bus and the event space. So we have
Not the West Coast yet, but we
not
will
the West
be
Coast.
getting there.
Not yet. We will be coming, but we're starting in Nashville. We'll be in this year. This is where we're going. This year, we're going to Nashville, Atlanta, Huntsville, Alabama, Chattanooga and Pigeon Forge, Lexington and Louisville, and we may hit
So,
Cincinnati. So, um, and we are bringing special guests with us. We will be coming. I promise. I promise. If you guys want us to come to your town, send us a letter send us an email, drop us an email at tipsforgoodwives@gmail.com. And say, hey, please come to my hometown and we will try. Let's go to VisionCon and dress.
right.
Well, we would if VisionCon was happening, but
They
it's
kind of
not
shut
happening
it
this year.
down.
They shut it down.
for a little
Mm.
bit.
Mhm, mhm. Janine, we will be in North Carolina, South Carolina at the beginning of the year. So the way we're going to probably be doing our tours, and it's not just going to be book tours. It's not just us coming and reading a book to you. We're putting on a whole true crime event. We're putting on a whole show for you guys. You get all kinds of cool shit with everything. And yeah, Vision Con got shut down. They're not doing a Vision Con this year.
Mm-mm.
They've even deleted their entire website. It's
I mean, I don't know. People were snipping around.
yeah.
They didn't
So
like it.
So by tomorrow afternoon, I will have all of our locations up for you guys to start buying your pre-sale tickets, save you some extra money on it. We have a VIP one, we have regular show ones. We're going to have merchandise, and you'll get our books there. We'll have special guests at each location. In Nashville, we have Jude Yates, J.A. Yates, joining us. She is a criminologist and author of many, many true crime books. She actually is dropping a true crime book that she will be hopefully premiering at our Cocktails and Criminals. So make sure you guys go and grab your tickets up so that we can have an amazing event with you guys and see you out there on the road. And if these are successful, we're going to keep doing more and more cool things. We're even talking about doing a mystery, a murder mystery dinner, and we've got the party bus. I'm telling you, this is going to be a big thing for true crime, and we're going to really, I really want to make this something cool.
I
Um,
do too. I think
I
it's going to
don't
be
want to just do your
fun.
average everyday run of the mill book tour, where I just sign books and you don't really get to interact with us. You will have our time. The VIP there's two every night, that everywhere we're going, there's two a night, and we are there are 30, it's 30 people at a time. You guys get to come in a party bus with us. You get a bottle of wine, you get a book, you get to spend time with me and Mac and our guests.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's going to be a lot of fun. They will be on our website as well, but right now you can go to Eventbrite. The Nashville one is up there, and
Thank
then
you,
by
April.
tomorrow,
Appreciate you.
I hope to have the rest of them all up there so you guys can start getting your tickets. I'm
Thanks
so
for being
excited
here about it.
about this. This is so
I
exciting.
know. Me too. Me too. Me too. Good
Yep,
Lord,
yep,
girl.
yeah. So, okay, guys, you have a wonderful night and have a good
Yep.
one.
Everybody take
Come to the
care.
vibe. Serving up true crime, one dish at a
One dish at a
time.
time.
Bye, guys. Mwah.
Have a good night.
Good night, guys.